Good evening, all. Today we're taking a look at one of the earliest Orecas to wear the badge, the FLM09. In contrast to the modern Oreca 07, which has proven so wildly successful that it has turned LMP2 into an essentially one-make series through sheer force of will, the FLM09 started out as a vehicle for a one-make feeder series into the full-on Le Mans Series championships, and proved so successful that it ended up in the main championship itself, giving rise to a series of increasingly dominant Oreca LMP2s, currently represented by the aforementioned 07. The FLM09, FLM standing for Formula Le Mans, was not, however, a clean sheet design from the French constructor. Rather, it took its general architecture and appearance directly from the Courage LC75 after they were absorbed by Oreca in the mid-2000s. With a remarkably versatile monocoque constructed primarily of carbon fiber and Kevlar, LC70 and LC75-based vehicles would see use in several prototype applications through the mid-late 2000s and early 2010s, including serving as a starting point for Acura's series of ARX vehicles, as well as Oreca's other early vehicles, the 01 and the 03. It was in fact so versatile that it could fit engines with as many as 10 cylinders or as small as the 2.8-liter V6 Acura used in some of their vehicles. Designed with an overall focus on keeping costs reasonable, the FLM09 nonetheless received the largest capacity engine to make it into the chassis, a 6.2-liter LS3 V8 from General Motors. Naturally aspirated, of course, it was originally introduced in 2008 for the mid-generational refresh of the C6 Corvette. In the application for the FLM09, the engine was modified to help improve its reliability, including a new fuel injection system and the addition of dry sump lubrication, ultimately producing around 430 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque, or, near as makes no difference, 70 horsepower per liter. This, of course, sent power to, everybody say it with me, the rear wheels, which were Michelin tires through a 6-speed sequential X-Track gearbox, the same base unit as was in use by Audi on the R10 at the time. Actually, interestingly enough, the FLM09 switched to Continental tires in the United States in 2013 due to a new sponsorship deal with NASCAR, who ran the ALMS, or American Le Mans Series, at the time, and owns IMSA to this day. But corporate politics notwithstanding, the car was well-founded in its design at this point, and experience from Oreca's learnings with the LC70, 75, and the newer 01 all flowed into the finished product of the FLM. The apparent luxury of carbon-ceramic brakes from Brembo instead of steel units was explained thus by Alain Marquet, the program coordinator. The steel equivalent you have to change every race. If you add it up throughout the entire series, it is more expensive to use steel. The wear on carbon is so small we have the same disc for the entire season. That means that you do not buy a disc, you buy the car. There is a set of discs on the car, and you'll use it year. I imagine there was something forgotten in the quote there between you use it year. Probably you use it for the full year, but I digress. Suspension design was informed by changes Oreca made in its first seasons with the LC70, particularly in the front, to improve the feedback and control of the push rods and double wishbones in mid-speed corners. In total, the vehicle weighed less than a ton, at 900 kilos or 1,984 pounds, and the bill for a complete car was reportedly somewhere in the €300,000 range, although a full season's cost would obviously vary depending on which season or series was entered. And speaking of competition series, the 2009 Formula Le Mans Cup was the aforementioned feeder, or ladder series, for the main Le Mans Series Championship in Europe, and the 09 was additionally the vehicle of choice for the prototype challenge class in the ALMS, intended as a third prototype class below the standard LMP2s for the main races. This proved to be the right way to go about things, and after the 2009 Formula Le Mans Cup was dominated by the Dams team, the same as ran last week's Panos vehicles, the Cup was integrated into the main Le Mans series for 4 of the 5 races, with an additional race solely for the FLMs. This eventually morphed into the European Le Mans Series, and after a rebranding in 2012 to match the American branding of Prototype Challenge, the 09s raced as a distinct class in the ELMS until 2014, while the class persisted in IMSA beyond the lifespan of the ALMS, lasting until the close of the 2017 season. Since then, most of the 24 FLMs produced have made their way onto the secondary market and into private hands, seeing frequent use at historic events and track days both in the US and Europe. Photographs in this video come from such events at Sebring, Road Atlanta, and Le Mans. For today's call to action not featuring the 3 sacred words of YouTube,
like, comment, subscribe.
Why not take a look at some old photos this evening instead of watching TV or whatever one normally does and enjoy the trip back down memory lane? Perhaps you'll find some inspiration for your next trip or weekend activity. Have a good evening, all.